How's it going, guys? As you saw, my performance last weekend wasn't exactly the greatest, and I've had 24 hours to think about it, and I decided that was just really aggravating that I didn't do better. And my theory was it was 2 days of cold front coming through, and Saturday I went shallow up in the Niangua with clear water and jerkbaits, and it worked out for me. I just didn't get the big fish bite that I wanted, which is totally fine. It was first tournament upriver and gave it hell, and ended up with 4 fish. Had a couple on that could have made a difference, but wouldn't have put me in the money. As you saw, it took 17 pounds just to make the money, 22 pounds to win it, I believe. And then Sunday I went out, and I just wasn't happy with my results. So I took all the info that I got from all the people that were doing pretty good and who actually caught some fish that day, and I'm gonna come out here. I decided I'm gonna spend the rest of the Monday trying to figure out what was going on. I figured a 2-day cold front, those fish would have pulled off a little bit deeper water, kind of suspending, and that's why I was throwing my jerkbait quite often, right around that 6-foot range. And I got a bunch of bites on Sunday. I just unfortunately for some reason, it didn't record. And when I finally noticed it, it was already 3 hours in the tournament. Kind of like Saturday, I lost the second half of my tournament. For some reason, my GoPro likes to just quit recording. Don't know why, but hopefully it doesn't do that on me. I'm gonna have to pay more attention to it. Check it every 20 minutes, just glare at the timer on it. But I decided today I'm going to come out here, I'm going to put all my rods away except for a square bill crankbait, or basically a shallow running crankbait. I don't know if I have exactly the color I feel like throwing, and a spinnerbait. Other than that, my deck is going to be completely cleaned off, and I'm going to just go with it and see how I do. So let's see if I can take what I learned from the ramps with the guys that did okay, and see if I can apply it now and possibly catch some fish and turn not such a great result into a positive learning experience, and in turn making the whole weekend worthwhile. I'm going to burn some bank, see if I can't replicate what those guys were doing and possibly catch some fish. And if I can at least catch one keeper today, it's going to tell me that, you know what, they were doing the right thing. I did something wrong. Come here, we're going. So, alright, stay tuned. There it is, baby. Alright guys, there it is. Made 1 cast with the spinnerbait. Caught my first keeper. That's a good solid 2-pound fish. Let's see if we can't catch some more. You wanna give a kiss? Okay. Fish 2. Fish 2. Sit. Kiss. There you go. There's a big one. Well, he's not big as I thought. Let's see if he's a keeper. Sit, boy. Sit. Good boy. 14 1/4. Sit. Sit, boy. Okay, so I made 1 cast up behind that cable underneath the walkway. Got this little guy to hit. Thought he was a little bit bigger when he hit it, but he definitely frayed up my line. The important thing to remember is if you catch a fish at all over a cable, first thing you need to do is retie. So, not a big fish, but to start, sit. There you go. No. Kisses. There you go. Good boy. There you go. Tied up, fresh line. it definitely decreases the chances of losing your next fish. And guys, if you're a fisherman and you bite off some line or you cut it short, do everything you can to get it out of the water. Don't throw this back in the water. Not only is it increasing the chance that you might suck it up into your prop, but you might get it into your trolling motor, and you're just going to get somebody else hung up and create an issue down the road for other people too. So do the right thing and just pull it out and throw it away. Well, another little guy. There you go. There it is. All right. Alright, another small one, maybe just shy of a keeper. Again, on the spinnerbait out here on the main of the Indian, and it's not too bad. Alright, there you go. There you go. Well, very next cast, another little guy. Come here. Sit. Alright, let's see if the talent reaches. There it goes. Alright, finally, that's it. Finally a quality fish. This is a good solid 3 1/4. Possibly with that belly 3 1/2. Looks like a big old pre-spawn fish. Caught it on the spinnerbait. Kevin Van Dam. Sexy shad. I think it's a Strike King. And been cruising up and down this bank, and something was just telling me fish this whole bank down. And I've caught 2 keepers now. Redeemed myself for the weekend. That's a good quality fish. Give it a kiss, boy. Alright, let's let it go. Thanks for biting. Sit down. Sit down. Sit down. Good boy. Well, here's another one. I don't think he's going to make it. We'll measure him. Ooh, so that makes 3 solid keepers right now. I've only been out for 2 1/2 hours. So that's not too shabby. Sit down. Sit down. You get your turn. But yeah, let's see if we can't catch another one. Alright, there's your kiss. Alright. Now you might have noticed that when I made that first cast in there, I set the hook and missed one. I'm pretty sure it's the same fish. I made an exact same cast right in the same spot, and he followed it out a little bit farther before he hit it the second time, but when he hit it, he smacked it, and I knew right away that was going to be close to a keeper, if not better. So.
All the tree rats are you? See all the tree rats?
Sit down. Caught me another one. 14 and a half. Not quite a kilo, but another one. Now, one thing I did notice, and I know you guys have been watching me kind of skip over some of the sunny side, is every bite I've had has come on the shade side, on the south side, which is normally what shouldn't be happening, but that's how it's working today. So in turn, I'm having a good night. Just about to head in. Caught another little one. I'm sure he's about 14 and a half. But we'll make a few more picks at this point, and then we're calling it a day. Another little fish. Here you go, Zeus. Alright, good boy. Well, guys, been on the water for 3 hours, caught 3 keepers, caught a bunch of fish. Started out throwing that square bill or little shallow diver, and then switched over to a little bit deeper diver, and then finally decided, I was going to pick up a spinnerbait and throw it. First cast with the spinnerbait, caught a nice keeper, and that right there told me, hey, this is what they want. Burned a good 1.5 miles, probably 2 miles of bank. Just throwing that spinnerbait, slow rolling it, 45 degree from the bank. Trying to keep it in the strike zone. The fish are associating to the bottom pretty much, so keep that spinnerbait within a foot of the bottom. I think that's where you're going to get your bite. Granted, it was a sunny day all day. It was warm. It's 64 was, I think, the high. And it's a full moon, but the skies were clear, the sun was shining, and I figured the spinnerbait bite might be alright, and it turned out to be a pretty good bite. For 3 hours fishing, 3 keepers, and a whole bunch in between. I had a good time. That's a good way, like I was saying when I started the video, I took a negative from this weekend. I didn't do very good. I wasn't happy with it, and I kind of mulled it over for the day, and I finally just said, you know what, I'm going to go out and try it. And so I turned a negative into a big positive, and I learned something. I educated myself, knowing that just because a cold front comes through doesn't mean it's going to pull the fish out deep. It's been windy for 3 days, and I don't know if the wind has a factor with it, or if it's just, that's what they wanted. They wanted to move up shallow because the days are getting longer. We had a warming trend for about 5 days straight, and a couple days in the 80s, and before you know it, all these fish were flooding the bank. They've been finicky for a long time. But just remember, don't let your failures overcome you. Take your time, reassess what happened, and think of a way that you can turn into a positive, just like this. I literally got off work, put the boat in the water, and started fishing. It took me about 25-30 minutes to get my first initial bite, but after that I caught fish about every 10 minutes, and it just, you just gotta kind of stick with it. Take what you learn throughout the weekends or during the day on the water. You fish a tournament and you don't do very good, you come back and start talking to the guys. Some of them, they're not gonna talk to you. They're not gonna tell you. I mean, that's just the nature of who they are. Sometimes, they're competitive. They don't want to give up their secrets, especially if they may fish against you regularly. Or some of them, they might just, blow smoke up your rear end and tell you, they might have went out and threw a whopper plopper in the middle of February, which those are the guys you don't need to associate with anyways. You want to educate yourself and learn. Listen to what the community says. If you've got 7 or 8 guys that went out and caught fish, and 4 of the 8 or 9 say, hey, you know what, I caught my fish throwing a crankbait on a point, odds are 4 of those guys aren't going to lie about what they did, especially if they were in the top 10. They have nothing to lie to you about. Now, if you're in like a small tournament, there's like 5 or 6 guys, and you get a different story from each one of them, that could very well be the case. Depending on the time of the year, the bite's different. But if you got a 30 boat tournament and they all say, oh yeah, I caught them shallow on crankbait or spinnerbait, you know, if a good 10% to 20% say that and they were in the money, odds are it was true. And I decided to come out here and see how true it was, and they nailed it. They knew what they were doing, and I turned it into a positive right there. So anyways, Ozark Angler, check it out. You guys have a great day.